You've all heard the saying, statistics, bloody statistics. And statistics, you can make them say what you want them to say. Peter Dew's my name, public speaking trainer and coach. And today I want to share with you 10 statistics, 10 numbers that cause impact, that affect, that influence your public speaking skills. 10 statistics, some of which you'll know, some of which you won't have heard of before, that may help inform you as you move forward in your public speaking, presentation skills, in your facilitation, in your training skills that you develop. And we all know the importance of being able to speak confidently and effectively so you can get your message across. So welcome to 10 statistics. Let me share my screen. So why statistics? It's just something that I find intriguing. My background as a medical scientist, confidence limits, statistics, probabilities is something that run all through the medical sector. And as a medical scientist and working in the background, statistics was something that we relied upon. So it sort of tickles my fancy. Please ask questions, take notes, participate, and think, do any of these statistics surprise you? Are you going to change what you do as a result of some of these statistics? Now, this webinar is being recorded because I had to cancel the previous one. So all of those of you who registered will get this recording for this webinar. First statistic, you have 15 seconds to make a good first impression. So this is when you walk before the audience, you walk on stage, you welcome people, the smile, maybe the handshake still, less so in COVID as less people do handshaking, but your first impressions. Are you making a good first impression? Is your energy there, your volume? Are your eyes lighting up? Once you've made a first impression, it takes a long time to adjust or change that first impression, hence the importance of making a good first impression. In crafting the speech, there's also something called the rule of primacy. First words that come out of your mouth matter. They're prime real estate. They grab impact. They create relevance. So first 15 seconds to make a great impression, non-verbally, how you look, how you dress, how you hold yourself, avoiding the fig leaves, the shoulder drops, the eye contact that's avoiding. 15 seconds to make that good first impression. Job interview panel is assessing you right from the start. Do you look confident? Have you got your nerves under control? And with the scripting of your presentation, that first 30 seconds matters, have strong impact. Eye contact, really important. People judge us the way we make eye contact. It's how we build trust. And it's how we as a speaker or a trainer or facilitator, it's how we read the room. It's how we see someone over there maybe nodding their head in agreement, maybe shaking their head in disagreement. Maybe they're just falling asleep. And that non-verbal indicator gives us the feedback we need to know we need to inject some energy. We need to change pace. We need to get people to do something. I like to make eye contact with individuals in the room. I'll speak to that person for a while, engage them, and maybe speak to this person down the front for a while, speak to another person down the middle for a while. 3 to 5 seconds is the sweet spot of eye contact with an individual. Less than 3 seconds, you tend to be seen as a bit shifty. Greater than 5 seconds, except when on Zoom or team meetings where the lens is my audience, but one-on-one or in a group of people, face-to-face, more than 5 seconds may be seen as creepy or intimidating. So I'll do that 3 to 5 seconds, and then I'll move to someone else for 3 to 5 seconds, have a brief chat with them, and then change my gaze to someone down the back, 3 to 5 seconds. That's the sweet spot. Eye contact is important. It's how we build trust. It's how people connect with us, and it's how we read what's happening in the audience. Clearly, I need to wake you up, Peter. You're falling asleep. Finish on time. 100% of audiences appreciate a speaker, a trainer who lets them go on time, even better, 2 or 3 minutes early. They loathe speakers who go overtime into the lunch break, or even worse, into the next speaker's time. So I've got a 30-minute time slot, and after me, the next speaker's got a 30-minute time slot, and I decide I'm going to speak for 40 minutes, leaving the other person 20 minutes. You must stick to time. And if you have an MC or a chairperson introducing you, and if you've got question and answers at the end, this is in your time. You don't hand over your biography, your qualifications, your experience to the MC, who then takes 5 minutes to introduce you, and then think in a 30-minute time slot, then think you've got 30 minutes to speak. No, if the MC's spoken for 5, you have 25 minutes left. You need to finish on time. And what I would do is, if the speaker before me goes into my time and my 30-minute time drops to maybe 25 or 20 minutes, I would change my speech so that I still finish on time, my designated finishing time, and the whole program, the whole conference now is back on track, and we get to go to lunch on time. Audiences will appreciate you bringing the program back on time. They'll appreciate you finishing on time, and do not speak into another speaker's time. And do not finish on time and then say, are there any questions? Because you should have allowed time before you finish in time. The average attention span of an audience is 8 to 10 minutes. So therefore you need to engage them. Every 8 to 10 minutes, you need to change pace. You need to do something differently. Maybe you need to stop sharing and ask questions. Look at the different people around the room. Stephen, what do you think? Cheryl, what do you think? Leanne, down the back, I'd love your opinion. Turn to the person next to you. Just have a quick chat. What would you do in this situation if this was your organisation? I'm going to give you 5 minutes. All these engagement strategies, don't do death by PowerPoint, which is something that happens on Zoom and Teams meetings quite a lot. I've pulled my PowerPoint down, so now you're looking at me, and I can ask you different questions. The average attention span, 8 to 10 minutes. I use a little model called TELL. Talk to you, show, share a PowerPoint slide, go to a flip chart, draw something, ask, how would you deal with that? What would you do in that situation? How might that affect your organisation? Share with the person next to you. Does anyone want to share with the audience what they think? And that tell, show, ask, share goes around in a cycle every 8 to 10 minutes. And that resets people's concentrations clock. That gives you their attention for a little bit longer. And if it's after lunch, you may have to do something to disrupt the audience. You may have to get them on their feet, change where they've been sitting all morning. Inject some energy into the room. If the audience falls asleep while you're speaking, it is your responsibility to energize them. Body language matters. Your non-verbal communication. I mentioned first impressions, and that's with the face, maybe the handshake, the smile, the energy in the voice. This data comes from University of Los Angeles, University of California, Los Angeles campus, UCLA. Roughly 7% is in your message. So these are the words that you speak. 38% is in your voice, the pause, the energy, the passion, the enthusiasm. And around 50% is in your non-verbal communication, the way you stand, a confident non-verbal communication, breathing deep and low, not noisy, distracting hand gestures, just flapping around in the air, not meaning anything, making sure your gestures are congruent. They layer on what you're talking about. Maybe you need to urge caution. Maybe you need to bring people on a journey. Gestures that add to what you're saying. Avoid aggressive gestures. Avoid passive gestures. Fig leaf, shoulders down, behind my back. Avoid swaying in the wind. All of this non-verbal communication can distract and dilute your ability to have impact. Body language, non-verbal communication matters. The last 30-second matters. This is where you nail your ending. Behavioural psychologists call this the rule of recency. The last words that I say, apparently, are going to be freshest in your mind. So don't do a soft landing. Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed my time with you. I hope we can work together sometime in the future. Please have a safe journey home. Many of you have driven a long time. It was a lovely, lovely, lovely day. Now you're ending. Only do one thing. Make sure you go back to your workplace. What's your call to action that elevates what your take-home message is? Last 30 seconds, valuable real estate, your opportunity to elevate your key message and leave that fresh in my mind. So when I walk out the door, I have no doubt what your core message was. Not that you had a lovely, lovely time, and wasn't the catering beautiful? And yes, I will drive home safely. And yes, I'd love to work with you sometime in the future. That is not your core message. That is not my core message. Now you're ending. Tell stories. People rely too much on data, facts. If you tell people some facts, so let me say I talk to you and I'm sharing statistics, apparently 5 to 10% of people will remember what you've said. If you add a visual image, so this is your PowerPoint, maybe your flip chart, then you're increasing retention rate to 30%. But if you tell a story with examples that creates emotions, that visceral, that gut response, you're increasing your retention 65 to 75%, according to Stanford University. People remember how you make them feel. They don't remember what you've said, how you make them feel. So your role is to create, through storytelling, a powerful visceral response that lets people feel that they've got this. They can see light at the end of the tunnel. They now can see a way forward. They may not remember your 5-step process, your 7 pillars of success, your 3 strategies, for financial survival, but they may, if they feel in their gut, I can now work through this. They've got your notes, they've got your handout, they've got your website. They can find those 7 pillars, but in their gut, they now know they're going to change and make a difference. 65 to 75% of people will remember how you make them feel. Those of you who have a fear of public speaking, myself as a person who stutters, every time I walk on stage in front of 100, 200, 300 people, I notice my anxiety rise. But I know that around the world, approximately 75% of people suffer from fear, anxiety, nerves around public speaking. It's called glossophobia. And that's really good news. 3 out of 4 people in the room just don't want to be on stage. 3 out of 4 speakers probably don't want to be on stage speaking, but they're doing it because they know their message matters. What they have to say matters. So public speaking is not about overcoming the fear of public speaking. It is about doing public speaking with the fear, despite the fear, because that's how you make impact. That's how you influence. That's how you lead your teams. And statistic number 10, you should spend about 10% of the time in your introduction. This is where you build rapport, where you connect, where you build that trust. For me, I reveal my vulnerability as a person who stutters, as someone who has struggled with public speaking, and through lots of practice, lots of hard work, and embracing public speaking, I've been able to overcome my fear of public speaking. And then when I see people nod and agree with me, I now know that I'm ready to move on to content. One of the mistakes that people make is they go on stage and they go straight into lecture mode. I'm going to tell you how to suck eggs. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. But hang on, Peter, who are you? So take about 10% of your time to build that introduction, to connect, build rapport, share your vulnerability, and then earn the right to ask people to follow you, to ask people to change. Bonus statistic, only 8% of people who worry about public speaking, 8% of people who have to do a lot of public speaking for their work seek professional help, despite the documented negative impact of poor communication and poor public speaking on leadership and management skills. Why do so few people put their hand up and ask for coaching and training? And can I go to a public speaking workshop when it's such a valuable skill to have? First 15 seconds matter. Eye contact, 3 to 5 seconds, finish on time. The average attention span, 8 to 10 minutes. Go through that cycle, tell, show, ask, share. Body language matters. Over 50% of your presentation, your impact comes from your non-verbal communication. That's your face, that's your gestures, and another 30% from your voice. Now you're ending, last 30 seconds matters. Tell stories, people remember stories, visceral response. 75% of people suffer from fear, nerves, anxiety, or glossophobia, as it's termed. Allow about 10% of your time for the introduction, and only 8% of speakers seek professional help. 8% of people who struggle with public speaking seek professional help. This is Peter Dew, public speaking trainer and coach, wishing you well on your journey. Which of those 10 statistics means something to you? What do you need to change or focus on? Is it your non-verbal communication? Is it making a great first impression? Is it seeking help? Are you one of those people who avoids getting coaching or public speaking? Whatever statistic is helpful for you, make use of it, turn it into a positive, and go out there and share your message. Bye.